What is up, NFL fans? It is that week that you've all been waiting for, and I, for one, couldn't be happier about it. Welcome to the Legit Football NFL podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Phillip Fox, and I am being accompanied by an all-time great. I'm being accompanied by Mr. Hemi Ray of NFL Stats. Jimmy, how are you?
Hey man, I'm doing good. No music today. No producer today, but Kevin,
Absolutely
you have like
tragic.
you have one hat on, but three like in your head. You know what I
I
mean?
like it. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with being the man of many hats, Jimmy. But nobody can have as many hats on as the great NFL Stats of
Absolutely, dude.
Twitter. Jimmy Ray, are you ready for a
Ac-
phenomenal episode today?
yeah, I do want to say hats are kind of too small for my head, but absolutely, I love putting on those hats. I'm ready for this
Big-headed
show.
guy? Big-headed
A
guy?
big-headed guy. Yeah,
Didn't know
absolutely.
that.
It's hidden by my beautiful, gorgeous red hair, but uh, absolutely. And
You're
Armand's in the
ginger?
chat. I
Did
am a
not know
ginger
that.
man.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
you didn't
Hey, I
you didn't see
just
that
met
in the
you.
bright LA
Yeah,
sun?
I was gonna say really quick for the listeners. You might not know this, but Hemi Ray and I met in person for the first time last week, and I will
Yeah.
say this: he's taller than you think he
Let's
is.
go.
He's taller than you think he is. I was very surprised. He's almost as tall as
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Give
I'm
him time.
26, but
He's still growing.
I'm still growing. And
He's a
Kevin is
growing
more
boy.
beautiful in person too,
Hey,
Armand. Just
dude,
so you need
you
to
don't
know
gotta
that, man.
you
That
don't gotta
hair,
lie.
his
You don't
music's fire too. I mean, it's
Oh,
all
yo,
beautiful, man.
yo, Jimmy Ray's gassing up. I love it. There's no way I'd rather start a show than just just heaping praise on me for the first couple minutes. But without further ado, Jimmy Ray, we do have our legit headlines to get into. And first and foremost, we're actually beating our own newsletter to the scoop here. So for those
We
of you
do
who
that.
don't know, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the past couple hours, Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs has suffered a knee hyperextension in practice and is suddenly questionable for the kickoff game, if you will, this Thursday. I, for one, am pooping my pants because I drafted him in just about every fantasy football league that I'm in. So I'm holding my breath. But before we got on the air, Jimmy teased and Armand teased in the chat that there is some developments on this. So, Jimmy, spotlight is yours.
Listen, man, you won't need your diaper right now because I think it's good news. I don't think you'll need to poop today. I mean,
Okay.
everyone does, but I think you're
True.
fine. So Adam Schefter, 8 minutes ago, after tests today, the Chiefs believe Travis Kelce's ACL is intact. There is inflammation in his knee, and they will test it again Wednesday to determine his availability for the Thursday night against the Lions. So
Okay.
it looks like they're still optimistic he might actually play, which is a good sign for the long term kind of effects that this injury might have.
Right.
But the fact that he's even possibly playing this week is good news for everybody looking
Oh,
forward to
that's
football.
phenomenal.
So
Yeah, I kind of feel like the tip-off game that I keep saying tip-off. I'm football over basketball, but it's in my head. That
yeah,
game would lose a lot of its luster if you're down Kelce on the Chiefs side. And I think our producer extraordinaire, who won't be able to chime in with a quippy sound effect, tragically, would
I was
probably say that the scales might tip in Detroit's favor if Kelce's to sit this one out. Is that an overreaction, Jimmy?
no, I don't think it's an overreaction. To be honest, I think the Chiefs still have a great chance to win the game without Travis Kelce, but I would say their stock kind of falls ever so slightly, and I think the lines would change. The lines are probably have changed already with the
Yeah.
possibility of Travis Kelce, their number one receiver, pass catcher, being out. But
Yeah.
also like long term wise, do the best for your team. Like Armand said, I think KC sits Kelce or Kelce for week one for safety precaution. My guy Armand.
Yeah,
Could be typing straight, but overall.
Jimmy, no, I hear you. And Armand, I think it's a decent recommendation. It's a big game, and you really don't want to start out a game in the hole in this year's AFC. It's going to be really, really competitive. It's going to be really,
Yeah.
really fast and furious. No Vin Diesel. So I don't know if the Chiefs will be comfortable even playing a little bit risky with one of their best players for
Right.
both the long term, but also for the prospects of how that game looks without
Yeah.
Kelce. So
Yeah, I mean the Lions are hungry, man. Lions are hungry. They're going to be
That's
singing the Wizard of Oz song here in a second. Oh my!
Oh, lions and tigers and bears, is that?
That's right. That's right. That's the one. We
Yeah.
got 2 of those in the NFL.
So, anyways, without further ado, that's kind of a little teaser here for you because that news broke within hours of the episode. So it was nice to get a little, and especially the Schefter tweet. Shout out to Adam Schefter, man. That guy really.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Adam.
And
We
Goldstone.
appreciate it.
Yep. So that being said, it's time for us to get to some legit headlines, and I kind of want to start in South Beach, with wide receiver Jalen Waddle and running back Devon Achane returning to practice. Jalen Waddle, who suffered a midsection injury roughly 4 weeks ago, is on track for the season opener against the Chargers. So Jalen Waddle drafters, take a deep breath. Waddle caught 75 of 117 targets for 64%. For almost 1,400 yards and 8 tutties last season, leading the league in yards per catch at 18.1. Achane, who suffered a preseason shoulder injury, was not wearing a non-contact injury in his return, which is a good sign for his week 1 status. He's expected to have a change of pace role in the Miami backfield, rotating with Raheem Mostert and Salvon Ahmed. Jimmy, what do you make of these injury developments?
I make that seeing people on the field is a good thing, and I'm happy that they're both trending upwards, especially for week 1. Week 1 is probably going to be the healthiest. Hopefully is usually the healthiest week out of the entire season. After this week, we'll probably see something brutal happen, unfortunately. Fingers crossed it doesn't, but I mean, it's a natural kind of effect that this game has. So hopefully everybody stays safe, but the Dolphins are looking upwards. Jalen Waddle is big for them. Devon Achane, I mean, the running back group, the running back room as a whole is very interesting. Fantasy-wise, I don't know if you would go with any of them, but I think as a group, I think it's safe to say that they could show some dominance here and there with the versatility they have in the backfield.
Yeah, and I think this game is going to come up later in a later segment, so I don't want to get too granular about it, but I will say Miami's already down Jalen Ramsey for the first arguably half of the season, which is just brutal news for them, given that he was kind of their prized acquisition. Teron Armstead, left tackle for Miami, his health is kind of up in the air right now. Not a lot of good vibes coming from Miami, from the infirmary at least. Really hoping that Tua and Tyreek and Waddle, if he's healthy, which it seems like he is trending to play, really hoping that they can just overcome the early part of the season where injuries are a factor, because you guys see my hat. Anybody who listens to this show knows I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So obviously there's part of me that just wants to see Miami crash and burn, but not from an injury standpoint. I want it to happen on the field. So best wishes to everybody in South Beach and all their fans. Present company, meaning Brian McFadden, excluded. I would like to see some pain in Brian McFadden's fandom because he made fun of a trade offer I sent him in our league. So I'm kind of mad at Brian McFadden right now. But that being said, yeah, I know I'm airing the dirty laundry between me and the boss on the air. Not a smart decision. But that being said, I can't wait to talk about this game later. I don't want to get too into it right now. Jimmy Ray, next legit headline, and this one's a little grosser, and again, it's another health one, and it makes me sick to my stomach, but Juju Smith-Schuster's knee, quote, could explode at any point. During an appearance on NBC Sports Boston, Albert Breer said Juju Smith-Schuster's knee is a mess. That thing could explode at any point. Smith-Schuster responded to Breer by stating, I don't think my knee is a ticking time bomb. If anything, it's getting stronger every day. The 26-year-old has been battling knee injuries since 2019 and had cleanup surgery after last year's Super Bowl. The Patriots' top 3 receivers are Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, and Kendrick Bourne. Behind them are rookies Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte, both of whom the Patriots really like. Boutte, who fell to the 6th round over maturity concerns, was seen as a first-round talent this time last year. If Smith-Schuster's knee does eventually explode, gosh, what a dramatic word. I'm sorry. I just have to get that out in the open. Tight ends Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki will likely see a huge increase in usage. Jimmy Ray, are you somebody who subscribes to the theory that Smith-Schuster's knee is a plastic C4 explosive strapped to a building that John McClane of the American film Die Hard is in?
Listen, man, I'm no doctor, but I didn't see a C4 on his leg during camp, so I think we're all good. I mean, that's
Right?
insane. That took over this whole storyline,
Doesn't
and
it kind of
honestly,
feel like a little bit of like an extreme, like it's Albert Breer. It's legit.
yeah,
We're pretty serious about the sources that we use in legit football. So there's no doubt that there's some at least legitimacy to the claims. Maybe not necessarily the validity to the truth themselves, but maybe the information that these individuals are getting their hands on. Yeah, Jimmy, I'm inclined to go with you, man. I don't see plastic explosives strapped to Juju Smith-Schuster's leg. I don't think that we can go this extreme just yet. I think we need to let him play and see how he looks on this
yeah.
allegedly explosive knee, because I just think it would be if the Patriots are trotting him out and if he's choosing to go out there with a knee that volatile, I just don't think that's smart or safe. And I'm inclined to think Patriots brass, with what they have invested in Juju and Juju himself, are not that dumb, in my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And the Patriots wide receiver group as a whole, they kind of need Juju this year. There's a lot of need in that room. There's a lot of question marks in that room as a whole. Devontae, Juju, Tyquan Thornton. I mean, what Booty? We already talked about everybody, but there's a lot of question marks. The Patriots, I don't really know which way they're going. I think we kind of feel a certain way that the trend is kind of downward with the Patriots right now in terms of offensive ability. But we'll see. Mac Jones is obviously the big factor in that, and knees exploding would not benefit him as a quarterback. So
yeah, I'm inclined to say that the Patriots kind of couldn't afford a Juju knee explosion. I do want to quickly tell Chase, Adrian is on the Thursday shows, Jimmy is on the Tuesday shows, but Chase, you will like Jimmy just as much.
Chase, appreciate you.
Joe, let's hope for all of your takes that they're wrong, because I want Tua healthy so that Buffalo can beat Miami at their best, and I would rather Joe's a big Die Hard fan, I know, so I think he's quoting Die Hard there, but he's maybe taking it a little extreme though.
He's exploding in the chat right now.
And Armand,
I swear.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Die Hard is the go-to Christmas movie. So, on topic, moving right along, Jimmy, I'm thinking we maybe do one or two more legit headlines before we dive in. We could talk Mark Andrews. We could talk Trevor Lawrence. We could talk Brian Burns. We could talk Sean Tucker. I'm interested in any of those routes. Want to pick two and let's just dive in?
The first two.
He's sticking with his gut.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence. Doug Peterson believes Trevor Lawrence is on the path of Brett Favre, Dan Marino, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. Elite company. A little extreme, I would say. Not as extreme as an exploding knee, but pretty extreme. Peterson evoked the legendary quarterbacks when referring to Lawrence's ability to elevate his teammates. Peterson served as a backup to both Favre and Marino, experiencing their greatness firsthand. In addition to leadership, Peterson said Lawrence is working on situational awareness, such as understanding 3rd and 4 versus 3rd and 10. Another step from Lawrence could put him in the NFL's class of elite quarterbacks. He showed rapid improvement in year 2 last season. 2021, he posted a 3-14 record with a 59% completion rate, 3,641 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, and 17 picks. Ew, not great. 2022, full year later, full one Urban Meyer less. He posted a 9-8 record, 66.3% completion rate, up 7%, 4,113 passing yards, up 500 yards. Math is so hard.
It is.
25 touchdowns, and cut his interceptions in less than half with 8 picks. So Trevor Lawrence very clearly on a great trajectory right now. The 3rd-year leap, Jimmy, is the one that we saw Josh Allen take. It's one that we saw Jalen Hurts take. It's one that is very likely due for Trevor Lawrence, and he's already a top 7 to 10 quarterback. So you give him that last little nudge, and we could be looking at who Doug Peterson believes to be a future Hall of Famer. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, when he was drafted out of Clemson, a lot of this hype was very similar. Like that hype is real. And shout out Clemson too for getting beat up last night. We don't have to talk about that
insane.
Though right now.
Clemson's fall off is insane.
Shout
it's televised.
Duke, yeah, unfortunate. Anyways, yeah, Trevor Lawrence, his hype was unreal coming into the league, and then like first season struggles here and there. That happens to most quarterbacks. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little later too with the rookie quarterback starting this week and this season. But Trevor Lawrence, he's built different. I think I completely agree with this kind of take. maybe it's a little exaggerated because those are some
Hall
top-notch
of Famers.
names, and it's
Yep.
very rare that a quarterback can hit there. But we have a lot of quarterbacks coming into the league. He's young. Calvin Ridley's coming in. They've got a great offense. They are in the AFC South with like 3 rookie quarterbacks also in there. So there's not a favorite. Jaguars are the favorite. If they were in a different division, we might be saying a different story.
True.
But AFC South, you're playing 6 teams you can definitely beat up a little bit. So it should be another good season for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and we have Joe saying that Trevor scares him more than Burrow. Can't say I agree there. Happy for you got to draft Calvin Ridley, though, in your draft. And yes, Urban Meyer is just that moment at the bar. All-time Urban Meyer moment. He is a he's not my favorite NFL head coach. Jimmy,
head coach.
I'm inclined to think I've been known to dub Trevor Lawrence as the prince who was promised on this show. Everybody, I can't remember a guy other than Andrew Luck who had the same kind of pre-draft and mid-draft and then early career buzz that Trevor Lawrence is getting. So I'm definitely excited to see how it continues to materialize. I think Jacksonville probably plays their way into the playoffs every year for the foreseeable future until that division gets a little more competitive. I think Tennessee's got a rebuild ahead of them. I think Indy has a few more question marks. And Houston, I'm a believer in as an ascending team, but I don't believe that they are there yet. So Jacksonville has at least a couple years to put a little run together. And if Trevor Lawrence is who they say he is, this is around the time when he should start, contending for Super Bowls. And that'll be interesting to see. But Jimmy Ray, we have one more legit headline to get to before we dive into our week 1 storylines, games, previews, matchups, this, that, the other to watch for week 1. So I will dive in last, but certainly not least for our legit headlines. Mark Andrews is expected back at practice, but he's been missing time due to an undisclosed injury. Andrews has missed 7 consecutive practices. John Harbaugh told reporters not to push the panic button on his status. Last season, Andrews caught 73 of 113 for a 65% catch percentage for 847 yards and 5 touchdowns, a significant drop-off from his 2021 production. Peter King thinks first-round receiver Zay Jones will contend for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm in agreement there. I'd like to talk about that. And Flowers was the most impressive rookie he saw during his annual tour of NFL training camps. Jimmy, what are we making of all this Mark Andrews stuff? Because a lot of people, fantasy community especially, were pounding the table for Mark Andrews, especially early in the draft, 3rd round, right? People were saying invest heavily in Mark Andrews. Personally, I've been burned by him one too many times. I've seen what the other side of the Mark Andrews injury bug looks like, and I know that you can't forecast that kind of stuff. I know it's emotional to hedge based on injuries, but here I am with 0 Mark Andrews shares and not at all sweating this undisclosed injury. So you're the stat guy, right? You're the insider for this podcast. Break it down for me. What does undisclosed mean? Is this something we should worry about, or how do you feel?
I think it's something you can't just ignore it. I feel like it hasn't really been in the news as much as some other injuries, honestly. I know like the fantasy community in general has been hyping it up, but as far as like the NFL community as a whole, I feel like it's been kind of on the down low, which kind of makes sense because it's undisclosed, so they're keeping it on the down low in the injury report as well. But I have shares in Mark Andrews, so I'm also kind of not sweating it, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's just like the instincts in me that's like, hey, this will be all right because they'll work it out. I need to start looking at the comment section.
Yeah, the chat is,
going on over here,
as
man?
I'll tell every single person, whoever listens to our show, if you want in on the exclusive, insane hilarity that ensues in our chats, you have to come to the live channels. You can't replicate Armand and Joe and Chase. You can't do it. You just have to be here.
Yeah, but as a whole, I think it'll be fine. I think I won't hit the panic button unless he starts missing a game or 2.
Okay.
I think that's where it kind of hits because this dude's been in Baltimore for quite some time. Practicing is important, but he has that chemistry with Lamar, and it's like kind of like the Travis Kelce situation. If they lose him, regardless of what their wide receiver core looks like, that's huge because Lamar said it in a tweet one time, like, F it, man. Mark Andrews is up there somewhere. that's what he's all about. He'll chuck it down the field.
Yeah.
regardless of his fantasy outlook, regardless of his injury outlook. I mean, that dude's the number 2 tight end in fantasy and in the NFL right now. I think we can all agree with that.
I'm inclined to agree, but man, Jimmy,
Thank you.
let me tell you, these guys, when they get the durability concerns slapped on them, I tend to feel that. I know it's not a popular opinion, and I know that fantasy analysts and injury experts and this, that, and the third will curse my name for saying it. But if I see it start to pile up, if I start to see missed games pile up, I tend to get scared. I tend to observe red flags in that regard. And that might be emotional or silly, but I'm inclined to think that it's okay and healthy to get a little nervous at times. I want to encourage our listeners to be responsible and not to believe too much injury hype, but undisclosed is weird vibes to me.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely weird vibes coming from a Colts fan. I understand that kind of weird vibe injury. I mean, that it literally irks me every time now when the Colts have an injury that's like the Shaq Leonard one recently. It's like, what's going on with him, man? Like he comes back, he leaves, he comes back, he leaves. He's not playing. Like
why the secrecy?
He's seen a specialist. Like Cooper Kupp, like we can talk about him a little bit too. He's seen a specialist in Minnesota.
Yeah,
he's questionable for week 1. Like I don't know what's going on with that. Nobody does. But I mean, yeah, I have no idea. But
this man,
it's definitely weird.
Jimmy, they all need to be on bubble wrap. Okay, I love the preseason for the fact that it gets us into football, and I love we're hustling to make rosters, and for the people who need preseason should continue. But man, let's put these superstars on bubble wrap, man. I'm telling you, dude, too many guys every single year, too many studs go down, and you got to get in football shape. I get it. It's kind of like the ultimate paradox, right? You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's almost just like you said at the beginning of the show. This has been these injuries piling up have been a theme of our episode so far. It's a violent game. Football. Yeah, you're gonna get injured.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's just an extension to the regular season. The preseason is obviously with that name, but without the preseason, you'd have training camp. Like you can't just go in cold turkey on the season because that would be
more did in 2020
in general,
and it was pretty weird. I remember that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it just I don't know what the injury stats were there. Some stat guy could probably look that up at some point. I don't know who would do that. Do you know anyone?
Just tag me in the tweet, brother. That's all I ask. I want to know the info.
There's some good doctors on Twitter or X, whatever the X. They'll figure it
Twitter.
out, or I will maybe. We'll see. Okay, Twitter. Awesome.
But
injury concerns everywhere. We'll be dealing with this every week. With the question marks around it, it's a little more sure thing. During the season, I feel like, because like you see them get injured on the field, and it's not usually like question marks, because we'll know by week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jimmy, phenomenal performances in the legit headlines today, man. Could not be more grateful to have your insight, your statistical prowess, if you will. And we do have a question from the great Joe Crack. Are they signing Jimmy Robinson, Himmy Robinson, or what?
I would love to share a name with a running back. He goes by James. I go by Jimmy, so we're a little different. He's a little more formal. I'm a little more laid back. But the running back room is weird right now. It's going to be committee regardless.
I like Deion Jackson.
There's a lot of question marks. Yeah, Deion Jackson, Evan Hull.
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss is there. Like there's guys. There's definitely bodies.
There's warm bodies for sure.
There's warm bodies for sure. James Robinson is the only one. I think if James Robinson came in, he'd be the most proven.
Would he start?
But that doesn't really say much, I guess.
Yeah, that's not great.
I mean, that's not.
Evan Hull could be something. He's a piece. He's a dynasty investment. If you're in a dynasty league or a fantasy league and you have like the last pick in your draft, grab one of those Colts guys and throw them on your bench, because you never know what they could turn into if Jonathan Taylor is traded or does.
It's like a Rams wide receiver. You don't know what's going to happen with Cooper Kupp out. You know what I mean? Like get Van Jefferson, get what's his face, Poco, something. Yeah.
Yep. And then we're looking at Takedo's back here, reminding everybody for weeks he's been saying Lions over Chiefs. The steam is pretty heavy with the Kelce news, but let's let them play the game before we go and take our victory laps. I don't want to hear Chiefs fans crying. Okay. We gotta get the show on the road. Jimmy Ray, are you ready for our
main topic?
Oh, let's go, baby. It's not the same as Brian McFadden pitched down to 6 decibels, but it is nice.
It's definitely something else.
It is nice. We are doing Week 1 storylines to watch. games to watch, matchups to watch, commercials to watch. What are you eating during the game? I want game one, everything. Break down week one in the NFL for me as far as you could possibly break it down. Himmy, go.
I don't know where to start. You just threw me into the whole
I think I'm gonna start I think I'm gonna start
plateful of the
NFL
NFL
kickoff
week
with
one, man.
some wings, some buffalo
Some
wings,
wings. Okay.
maybe some garlic
Okay.
bread.
Yeah,
No, I'm
garlic
just
bread, just a
kidding. Jimmy,
classic pizza.
what is your number
Why
one thing
not?
to watch in the NFL week one?
I think this is the easiest, like the 1-1 pick of the world. It's rookie quarterbacks, man.
Mm,
It's just the vague. I mean, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. I mean, who knows when he comes out and plays? You know, we'll wait and see. But Panthers versus Falcons, Colts versus Jaguars, Texans versus Ravens. There's some interesting plays there, but we'll see. I looked it up in 2021. There was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones all started week one. And I mean, Trevor Lawrence, we just talked about him. I think Zach Wilson's kind of on a different trajectory, if I do say so
could
myself.
be a career
With the second
backup.
overall pick, Mac Jones. Like, there's 3 different levels to it, and we
He's
could
the
be seeing
mid.
that in a few years too. So,
Yep.
And before that, the last time it happened was 2012. Andrew Luck, RG3, Ryan Tannehill all started week one. So we kind of saw who would have thought Ryan Tannehill would be the last one remaining out of those 3.
Seriously.
So rookie quarterbacks. It's fun because last year we had Kenny Pickett. He didn't even start week one. He waited a few more weeks because Trubisky was showing what he could do. But it's definitely interesting. We could talk about it all day, but we just got to see him play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And happy birthday, Armand. It sounds like this is a birthday week for him. Welcome into the chat on your birthday. We got to celebrate a real one.
Happy 21st, dude.
And Joe Crack, yeah, you need cold brew in your veins for football. That's just a fact. Jimmy, let's make some bold predictions here. What rookie quarterback is going to surprise us the most in week one? Because I got a tough answer.
I think Bryce Young has been kind of looked down upon, but I think his offensive line's solid. I think.
Yep.
I think the team as a whole isn't quite there, but I feel like he has some weapons, and the Falcons are a tough secondary, but he could definitely play well. We just didn't see a lot of him in the preseason, which is I think is why people are kind of looking down on him. He didn't have a lot of attempts, but I think I had to pick him because Anthony Richardson. That's a little biased. So can you pick Anthony Richardson for me?
Anthony Richardson. Remind me, who do the Colts play week one?
Jaguars.
That's a game that that's a matchup Anthony Richardson should be able to exploit a little bit. You know, it's not the most elite defense. They're not bad by any stretch, but I wouldn't call them elite. So I definitely think that Anthony Richardson can create some magic. Yeah. I'm going to have to agree with Joe. The chat is buzzing about C.J. Stroud. Takedo's in favor. Joe thinks not so much. I'm going to have to lean on the Joe side. I think Baltimore's defense has just got too many dogs. I kind of think that's my favorite streaming defense for fantasy. If you can grab Baltimore's defense with the last pick in your draft, I'm inclined to think that that's going to be a very valuable start the first week. Rookie QB, Baltimore always has good defense. I mean, it's a tale as old as time, Jimmy.
Yeah, Marlon Humphrey, Roquan.
Yeah, they got some dogs.
Some powerhouses.
They got some dogs. So definitely really exciting. Takeo, not a believer that Baltimore is going to flatline Stroud. Takeo, I love the Texans, so don't get me confused for a Texans hater. I'm a big believer in what they're going to do this season. I just don't think it's going to happen week one. Yeah. Stroud's going to have to take his lumps. Kenny Pickett, never forget, first NFL start was a 35-0 shutout to my Buffalo Bills. And it was really awesome to watch him go out there and put it all on the line, really, in a game that he had no shot of winning. And I even said it. I said he's shown moxie. You know, that's one of my favorite words to use for young QB. So I guess I'm doing a moxie check on these young guys.
Didn't he get in a fight with somebody last year?
He got somebody leveled him after a play, and he ran up and body checked him. I was like, bro, you are not winning that fight, but good for you for doing it. Like, show your team
not do it. What are you gonna do? Just stand there after that?
Yeah, show your team who you are, you know, and I respect that a lot about Kenny Pickett. So great call, Jimmy. I like you're going broad. You're going rookie QBs broad. It's a long main topic today. We could really break this one down. I'm gonna say this. Yeah, there is no game on the schedule. Homerism aside, Bills Jets is gonna be crazy. I'm gonna we'll talk about that, I'm sure. I'm not going to talk about it right now. But there's no game on the schedule for me that has the kind of intrigue that Dolphins Chargers has, because these are two teams who are projected to be upper echelon. These are two teams who are projected to be either tier 2 or tier 3 AFC teams. Tua Tagovailoa has had all the health concerns. He's taken jiu-jitsu. He's got a GoPro on his helmet to learn how to fall. There's so much. There's been so much made about Tua. There's been so much made about Herbert by me. I have had his name in my mouth all offseason about, is he a top 5 QB? Why don't you go out and prove it to me that you are? Because I think he can be. I don't think there's any question about that. But has he proven that he is? I personally believe I still need to see it. So that being said, Hemi, we're looking at a lot of intrigue around that game. I think Herbert, with his weapons, Williams, Allen, Eckler, Johnston, it is crazy. Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Jimmy. This is as intriguing of a matchup in week 1 as you can get, and it's going to be a measuring stick game for both teams. And one of those teams is going to start out 0-1, and that's a tough hole to be in a very, very loaded AFC.
Yeah, it's an impossible game to pick, I feel like. I mean, Dolphins, Chargers, like who are you going to pick and be happy with it? Like money line.
I personally probably pick the Chargers.
Yeah, that's
sorry, Brian.
That's very fair. I don't know. The fact that you picked the Chargers makes me want to pick the Dolphins, just because, like I said, it's hard to pick. So we'll play a little bit of both sides, but both teams have been on the brink before. The Chargers haven't really produced in the playoffs. They're coming off a tough, very tough loss against the Jaguars last season, so they're gonna try to rebound as well as they can. They have a new offensive coordinator that's exciting.
Yep.
Justin Herbert, I mean, I think he's a great quarterback, but he has to make it in the playoffs, or he'll just be known as like that guy that produces in the regular season and you haven't seen anything else. But hopefully he has a long career, and I'm sure he'll make it that far eventually. But he's putting up numbers, but we have to see the wins in the postseason, and this is kind of where the road starts. And the Dolphins kind of in a similar situation. They have a chance to kind of go far too. So this week 1 will definitely change the narrative of the season and kind of drive it forward. So
yeah, that back and forth is going to be electric, Jimmy.
Awesome,
but I'm inclined to lean Chargers. I do want to say, as the NFL
Dolphins
stats
defense
guy,
might be up there though.
They might be elite, but they're down Ramsey, right?
They were down Ramsey all last year.
They're down Ramsey, and Teron Armstead might not play, which means we might be looking at a Khalil Mack just feast.
Yeah.
Tua better practice those body rolls. I believe is the term. That might be.
He's getting better. I saw that video and I was like, I like that from you.
No, Tua. Me too. I actually really do. I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm actually not even being. Yeah, I've seen people sarcastically being like, "Oh, good job falling the right way," but like it's true. It's real. Like this NFL is.
Do you want him to fall the wrong way, man? What are you talking?
This is so human.
Relax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people are just people will hate on a newborn baby these days. They just want to find something to be mad at.
Yeah, I don't want Tua not to be able to spell his last name. That's just all I want him to be able to spell his full name.
I couldn't spell it if you put a gun to my head, so pay me $50,000. So. Thank you for that. So NFL stats, I'd be remiss if we didn't at least acknowledge the chat here, because I mean, first of all, Takedo and Joe are just being just unbelievably fire right now. These two, I'm just loving their energy.
Man. But happy 38th, by the way, Armand. He's not 21; he's 38.
I refuse to believe that. Drink responsibly on your 21st birthday. Be safe.
Yeah.
Here's something to think about. This is a great Armand stat. I want to give credit where credit is due. Week 1, since 2014, home team underdogs in division games are 29-9-1. Bet safe. If you have a gambling problem, I'm just kidding. I was gonna refer to one of those phone numbers, but I don't have the phone number.
Call Kevin's phone number, which is
call me, and then I will exploit it, and we'll make a bunch of bets, and we'll get you really just spiraling. Jimmy, you got another week 1 thing to watch: matchup, game, snack, etc.
Who are the Bills playing?
I don't know. Armand, do you know who the Bills are playing? If you know, comment it in the chat.
Yeah, comment. Oh, I'm looking at it now. It's the Jets. Bills Jets.
Oh, it's the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay. So that must be like a Sunday at 10:00 a.m. Pacific time kickoff, or
yeah, I think it's going to be over by the time everyone wakes up because it's not one of those
it's a
shows that like
snooze
people will
fest.
tune in. Not people will like
I'll
people
catch
won't
the highlights.
people won't change their schedule for this game. They'll plan around their schedule. You know, they might watch like one quarter. Anyways, Jets Bills. That's going to be an unbelievable game, man. I mean, that's how nervous are you right now? The Jets are one of those storylines that they've been talked about forever, and this is where they're going to prove it. So, like, they were 7-10 last year with a few different quarterbacks. They're coming in this year with Aaron Rodgers, who's just one quarterback that hopefully I assume will play the entire season. But the Jets, they start out Bills, then they play the Cowboys at some point, Chiefs, Eagles, before their bye week 7. I mean, that's a tough little lineup. And the
Murderer's
Bills,
row.
Yeah. Their defensive line, offensive line's kind of iffy with the Jets, but
bad offensive line.
I kind of focused on the Jets as a whole because they're the most interesting storyline. The Bills are very interesting too. Don't get me wrong, but we definitely know what they are. We know that they can come out and compete and beat the Jets. So it should be one of those games that, like, man, that New York blood right there. It's going to be interesting. Or New Jersey, wherever they're at.
You talk about New York blood, bro. We got New York blood running deep, blue and red in actual New York, where the Bills play. But yeah, like you said, Jersey, they definitely got something going on over there. I got nothing but respect for the way that the Jets attacked this offseason. They really tried to get better. They really tried to put the rest of the NFL on notice, and I think they got close. Personally, myself, Jimmy, I think they're going to get humbled quick. I think they're going to come down to earth. I actually made a bold prediction on Coffee Shop Sports today that they won't make the playoffs.
Whoa.
And I know that's cancelable. And Armand, I hope we can still be friends. I hope I'm wrong for your sake. But I mean, you said it yourself, Jimmy. Their offensive line is trash. It's one of the lower half in the league. Rodgers had a 77 PFF grade behind the third best offensive line last year. So how on God's green earth are they going to do, how on God's green earth are they going to protect him? He doesn't have that same escapability he had in his 20s. He's not as fleet of foot, and he's not as inclined to run anymore. He seems like he's okay taking a couple licks a game if it means he doesn't have to run. The defense is great, and if they make it, I think it'll be on the back of the defense. But I think that
DJ Reed is calling him like the next Legion of Boom, I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken. So
good defense.
I mean, that's something else. That's like calling Trevor Lawrence Dan Marino. So we'll wait and see on that.
We'll revisit that one.
The Legion of Boom led Russell Wilson to his Super Bowl. So that's something to be hoping for, to be striving for. So I mean, they had the defensive rookie of the year last year. Don't forget the offensive rookie of the year last year. Last time that happened was 2017. Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lattimore. So if they can pull out all the guns that they need for week 1, it should be an awesome battle. But I don't think there's anything. I mean, I think the NFL did great with this week 1
Me too.
Kind of lineup. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. Good luck to your Bills, but
thank you.
I think it could be a toss-up, but
how about you pick? How about you made me pick the game earlier? How about you pick this one?
You want me to pick this one?
I won't get mad at you. You can say how much you feel.
You want to just money line it? I'll go Jets, man. Why not?
You think the Jets are winning the game?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
All right, you want to money line it? I got a money line for you.
What's up?
No, just let's go. Text me. We'll agree to terms.
We'll figure something out. Why not? We're already playing fantasy football, man.
Jimmy and I are wheeling and dealing in the Legit Football Dynasty League, by the way. Jimmy and I have already been in talks with several deals. This guy right here, if I was like Brandon Beane,
Jets by 6.5.
He's my Joe Shane. No, absolutely not.
Gotcha.
Bills by $1 billion is the saying among Western New Yorkers, but it'll probably realistically be. My final score prediction is 38-24.
Okay. Jets win. Breece Hall 3 touchdowns.
You're hilarious, dude. I love it. To Cato, you and Armada and Joe, I want everybody comment your winners for these games that we're talking about. I want Dolphins Chargers picks. I want Bills Jets picks. I want Colts Jags picks. If anybody's got the stones to take Jimmy's Colts over the Jags, I want to know about it.
I wouldn't do it.
Jimmy Ray, great call on the Bills Jets being
Yeah.
your game to watch. I'm very, very grateful that you brought it up so I didn't have to, so I could still talk about it.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
going
do
to come
want to
down
say
to
don't pick the Colts this week.
you
They've
don't
lost
think
9
the
straight
Colts.
week 1 games.
Oh, there you go. And Rodgers loses a lot of week 1 games too, just saying.
Yeah, but that was Packers Rodgers.
That's true. Joe and I are in lockstep for our picks. I will say this: the Bills Jets game is going to come down to the Bills defensive line versus the Jets offensive line, and I think Greg Rousseau has 2 sacks, and the Jets can't get anything going on the ground, and I think the Bills make mincemeat of them. That's my prediction. Jimmy Ray, I got a little something for you for week 1. We talked rookie quarterbacks. We talked Dolphins, Chargers. We talked Bills, Jets. How about a little putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to the ascension of Mike Tomlin's never losing Pittsburgh Steelers, because they're playing the San Francisco 49ers, and talk about a test. Talk about a test right out of the gate. The NFC champion NFC championship losing Niners, who didn't have a quarterback on their roster that could throw a ball 5 yards. Jimmy, I think it's going to be a great game, and I think Pittsburgh's going to shock a lot of people.
By how much they lose? Or is it something else? Where are you going with this?
So, it looks like Joe's picking the Niners. I think sounds like you're picking the Niners.
Yeah, they're going to lick them clean. I wouldn't say that.
That's a weird way to put it, Joe. But
I think they'll eat them with their forks. They'll put the plate away in the washer, and they won't think twice about it. It'll just be like a normal dinner for them.
Yeah, we've heard all offseason about how ascending the Steelers were, and then they showed us in the preseason the way they took care of Buffalo in the second preseason game, the way Pickett, Pickens, Deontay, the way that they all connected. Jaylen Warren is a lot better than we thought, and their defense is always great, Jimmy. Yeah. I'm inclined to think that Pittsburgh makes this a game, and I'm going to be tuned in.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I mean, I was joking earlier, but in reality, I don't really think it'll be a game. It obviously could be, but I think the 49ers, they're tough. No matter who's at quarterback, I don't think it really matters. They have so many playmakers on offense and the defensive side of the ball, even without Nick Bosa. So I think they should. I expect them to have a dominant win against the Steelers. So I guess we're on opposite sides, but I'm interested.
I'm not exactly sure that I would say I'm picking Pittsburgh, but
but you think it'll be close.
I do actually. Yeah, I
within a touchdown.
I do think it'll be within a touchdown. Yeah, if you gave me Steelers +7, I would probably smash that.
Okay, and I would go the opposite way.
So, Jimmy, we have some texts. We might as well just hash it out on the air. I mean, I'm sure the listeners and everybody's dying to know. I'll give you Jets +2 because that's what Vegas is giving, and I'll give you Niners -7. 20 each.
20 each. Yeah, we'll talk
10
about
each.
it.
10 each. We'll negotiate the terms.
Yeah, we'll negotiate it.
We'll negotiate the terms privately, but the bets are on, though. The bets are on. So, Jimmy, we are coming to a close. We have a couple, we have a little bit of time left. I'd love to get anything left that you have on your list. We can go rapid fire for the last couple, because if you ask me, my excitement, I would say, Jimmy, and I would say right in this exact moment, is reaching a fever pitch. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could possibly be more excited for this weekend of football. And talking about it with you is just making it that much harder and worse. I'm going to have to go exercise after this because I'm like breathing heavy and you know what I mean? So if you got a couple more, I'd love to keep going, take this another 5-10 minutes and we'll steer the ship home. I
think the Bears are a fun team to go into. They're playing the Packers this week, which is always, a fun little matchup. I believe it's at Soldier Field as well. So, I mean, I think the Bears could pull out the win. That would be a very exciting win for a team that did not have many wins last year. Justin Fields, he balled out. They have new weapons. DJ Moore, Claypool's gonna come in with a full season under his belt, or full offseason under his belt with the Bears. Darnell Moody's gonna be back from injury. Yep. They have Darnell Wright, Nate Davis, Robert Tonyan. Shout out my boy Funyon over here. Robert Funyon. He's gonna be kind of balling out a little bit. So they have a lot of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and I think it should be a fun little game. The Bears Packers always makes it interesting. And then Packers on the other side of the ball, Jordan Love, see what he's made of. He has some playmakers on that side of the ball as well, with Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, a lot of young talent, especially in the wide receiver core there. So I'm excited to see what happens with that game. That's one game I'm intrigued by.
That's a great pick, man. I definitely couldn't agree more. I'm super into Justin Fields, especially in fantasy football. If you can snag Fields, like, in the middle rounds, like, I think he's a steal. I also am inclined to believe that Jordan Love is better than we thought he was going to be. I don't know if he's going to follow in the Hall of Famer trajectory that we've seen and come to expect from Green Bay quarterbacks, but I think he's going to be okay. I think Green Bay will be a wild card contending team. I think they'll be one of those middle of the pack NFC teams, but I have no doubt in my mind that the Bears are going to take a step forward. The acquisitions of Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Robert Tonyan, Justin Fields taking a step forward, DJ Moore, all the draft capital that they acquired from moving down to 1-9 there. That's a team that should absolutely be putting a lot of people on notice. And again, I don't know if it's this year for their ascension, but I think they're ascending. I think they will prove in the next couple of years that they're not a team to be messed with. I do want to quickly answer, because we have a great question here in the chat from Joe Crack. Jamal Williams or Treylon Burks in the flex for full PPR. I'm inclined to go with Jamal Williams due to touchdown upside and the fact that Kamara is suspended for that game. So I kind of want to cash in my Williams snaps while I can get them. That's where I'm at personally. I know full PPR might sway you into thinking you should start a receiver, but Jamal Williams isn't exactly a slouch in the passing game. So, and with no Kamara, you got to think Williams is going to be getting some passing down work. That's my pick.
Yeah, I picked the Jamal Williams side as well, mainly because he could get the bulk of the carries. He's the proven guy in that backfield. And I mean, Treylon Burks, he had some moments here and there last season, but nothing crazy. He could start balling out as the season progresses, but I wouldn't put my money on that. I think the safer bet is Jamal Williams. But I guess Treylon Burks might have that boom side of it,
Yeah, that's a great question.
Not safe side, but if you think you might be down a little bit, just hope for the best and take Treylon, and he might get you more points than Jamal, but Jamal will definitely get probably a lot more touches on the ball. So
safer floor for Jamal for sure.
Yeah,
Burke's floor is really 0.
Yeah, we could also be wrong, so we're not liable for anything that happens.
Hey, we're analysts, baby. We that's baked into it, man. We're
yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't just ignore what I said. Yeah, you
don't hedge.
Liability is gone.
Start Jamal. Anyways, I got one for you, Jimmy. You want to know what I can't wait for? I actually have goosebumps thinking about it.
Actually, let me see.
7 hours of commercial-free football starts now.
That was good.
I cannot freaking wait. That was my best Scott Hansen impression.
Yeah,
you can clip that and send it to him. Maybe he'll maybe he'll hire me as like an intern or something. No, probably not.
He'll shut down our podcast.
That's fine. I would literally tell him, Scott Hansen, I appreciate the offer, but I'm
what's your setup on game day?
Okay, so here's what I do. If the Bills are playing on Sunday morning, Bills are on the big TV, Red Zone's on the laptop.
Yeah, you're on the same kind of scale as me.
100%. Volume's on the Bills, focus is on the Bills. I catch Red Zone during commercials and when crazy stuff is happening. But for the most part, I'm an extremely loyal and focused Bills watcher. That being said, when the Bills are playing Sunday at 10 a.m. with everybody else, that means I watch the Thursday night game with full focus. I watch the Sunday night game with full focus, and I watch the Monday night game with full focus. And I usually throw some bones down to try to, get my juices flowing a little bit. Usually throw a couple dollars on a couple parlays, if you will, for those.
Yeah, of course.
For funsies.
Yeah, for fun.
And Joe knows. Joe's been there for my pregame routines. Vince Staples, absolutely blasting through the house. Specifically the song "Are You With That?" Great song. Jimmy Ray, what's your setup? Yeah, give me the breakdown.
It's honestly pretty similar. I think I'm gonna end up with some Sunday ticket. I'm gonna share Sunday ticket with a few guys, and we're gonna maybe try to multi-screen it when I can. But yeah, Colts Colts on the main screen. I'm rooming with a Ravens fan, so we're gonna have to get the Ravens game on there whenever we can too.
Yep.
But a couple TVs with Colts, Ravens, maybe Red Zone and like a smaller TV or a laptop or something in the corner, just so I can hear that beautiful sound. I don't need Colts announcers. I just need to focus on the game for that. So like if that'll kind of temper my anxiety for the games, but.
Dude, I love that you're the kind of fan who gets anxious because I've been.
Oh my gosh, man!
Dude, this is like my first full year being a sports analyst. Like this is my first off season that I'm wrapping through, and the amount of people who I've heard be like, "Oh, you start to care a little less when you're an analyst." I'm just like, no, not a chance in hell, dude. I'm going to be exactly. I'm going to be so much more invested and worked up, and I think objectivity is important, and I hope you guys know. I'll check the Bills when I have to. I just think right now I don't have to. I think they're a damn good team.
I mean, let's be real here. I love close games, but when it's the Colts, man, my heart rate does not love close games.
Same with
Colts because Colts games it hits different when it's a close game because it's one play can change everything. So it'll be very interesting. And I have the Colts on my list of stuff to look forward to as well. Just because they have had some very bad seasons. They've lost 9 straight. Week 1 games. They haven't had a quarterback like Anthony Richardson in forever. I mean, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers.
I liked Phillip Rivers.
Jacoby Brissett was all right. Phillip Rivers is good, but in the terms of like moving out of the pocket, avoiding sacks, we were the second most sacked team last year. We had the most fumbles by like five more fumbles than any other team. I mean, they kind of went together with like strip sacks the whole time. I was like, man, move the dang ball. So no matter what happens this season, Anthony Richardson is going to be fun to watch as a Colts fan, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yep. We got some
glad
Josh
he's getting
Downs.
that week 1 start. Josh Downs, he's
Josh Downs loving the chat. Love that.
He's the third wide receiver ahead of Isaiah McKenzie, who we cut then re-signed. Zach Moss is the running back 1 on the unofficial depth chart. He has a broken arm. So don't make that face, man.
I don't like it.
It's a committee. It's a committee. Look at the committee. Don't look at one guy.
I'm just kidding. I'm fine with Deion Jackson and Evan Hall.
Kareem Hunt and James Robinson are both there too. We're just gonna have a full committee.
James Robinson.
We don't need anymore.
Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette.
There
Jimmy.
We go. There we
go. They brought Jimmy Ray.
Yeah. I'm a player.
We got PK Martini, aka my father. Nervous about staying awake for kickoff. It's not the same as it was in the 90s. Pops, Florida. So it'll be a night. It'll be
so it's like me. Yeah, I feel that.
Like a midnight ending game.
I wish on the West Coast for those types of games because I could eat it.
It's so
I could
great.
eat dinner.
Dude, also,
I could watch it.
Waking up to football. I've done both. I grew up on the East Coast and I moved to the West Coast a handful of years back.
Yeah.
Waking up to football is the superior move. There is nothing like waking up, getting a cold brew, and then watching football. That is maybe the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life.
I just stare at my fantasy lineup for 3 hours.
Yeah. You have all the time in the world to overthink and tilt and panic. None for me.
Yeah. Tilting panic, that's part of the fun. So
I hate it. We got, yes, the snow game was stressful. Very close, very, very chaotic.
When we like move in the snow to kick a field goal, was that even legal?
Yes,
how much time did we
that.
have?
Yeah, and remember Shady ran the game winner in OT.
Shady's the GOAT.
I love
snow Shady. NFL player, not just running back NFL player in the snow.
That should have been our main topic. Best snow players. And then
name it. Vinatieri is the next one.
Takedo, to wrap up the show, really is calling Jimmy Irsay the Vince McMahon of the NFL. Very, very astute comparison there. Jimmy, this has been legit football. What a ride we've been on in this episode. We had some of the spiciest chats we've maybe ever had in my time here. I'm gonna slap an NSFW warning on our chat from now on because Joe and Takedo were just sending shots all day.
Yeah, they were exploding like
Juju's
knee, man.
Too soon.
Come on now, dude. I'm sorry. I need to leave.
Full circle. It's a full circle episode.
The comments are wearing off on me too.
Yeah,
so
I know. I was gonna say this is family friendly, bro. Chase is like 10 years old. We gotta look out for our buddy.
For real though, I've appreciated the comment section has been live. I mean, the amount of comments on here, it's been appreciated.
Keeping things lit.
I love it, dude.
We appreciate Joe Crack, PK Martini, Takedo, Armand, Chase, Jimmy Ray. You guys, It's so soon. It's not even funny. It's like 50 hours basically, because it's not exactly 48. It's about 50 hours. So deep breaths, stay strong, just get through 2 more sleeps. And then we wake up and there's going to be football on. And I personally can't even fathom it. I can't even. Oh, Jimmy, this has been the Legit Football NFL podcast, and we are out.